You are listening to a free version of Majority Report with Sam Seder. To support the show and get another 15 minutes of daily program, go to majority.fm, please.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
It is Wednesday, May 13th, 2020. My name is Sam Seder. This is the five-time award-winning Majority Report. We're broadcasting live from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, after a month-long vacation, Pelosi says there's no time to debate her coronavirus messaging bill. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court of the United States seems to think that Congress has too much power to investigate a president. Maybe they should tell Pelosi that. Meanwhile, in the White House, Trump pressures the CDC to undercount COVID deaths. And oops, FBI accidentally reveals 9/11 terrorists had a third Saudi official's help. AOC to co-chair Biden's climate task force as the entire task force menu is filled out. White House suppresses even more CDC guidance and a report showing spikes in the heartland. Paul Manafort released from prison regarding the COVID scare. Michael Cohen, not so much. Republican wins in California's 25th and Wisconsin's 7th. Not necessarily such good news for them. And a federal judge puts a hold on the DOJ's push to exonerate General Flynn. Trump approvals dropped. Jared Kushner has an opinion about whether we should have an election in November. All this and more on today's program. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. We're going to do some news today. Michael is here with us. Michael, welcome to the welcome to it. I see you there. Morning.
Yeah, I'm here.
You got a new bookshelf back there.
Well, it's actually an old bookshelf, but a new addition to it.
It's actually the only thing on the bookshelf.
What other book do you need besides Against the Web?
There it is.
Cosmopolitan Answer to the New Right.
There you go. One that's a weird way to stack your books. It doesn't seem like the most efficient way to do it. I mean, usually people put them in with the spine facing out, not like one. That's weird. That's a weird way to do it. There's something wrong with my camera. Hold on.
My therapist says it's good.
Let me just fix that. Yeah.
Huh. You have your own book stacking technique.
I have my own bookshelf. Oh, there. I'm sorry. Is that the Bible? Oh, okay.
Look. Against the Web is the second best book ever written.
This is honestly the first time I think I've picked up this book, the Bible, since college. So I'll put that away now. I've used it as a prop.
You used it as a prop? Oh, my God. You're putting it on the floor now, too. This would have been very controversial in the Bush
the
era.
Oxford Bible.
Okay.
Let's jump right into it. We've got a couple of things today that are of import. Just a heads up. We've got a lot of stuff happening with the Supreme Court. We're going to be talking to Ian Millhiser later this week, and we're going to play that interview next week. And we will catch you up on that. Obviously, there's a lot of oral arguments being heard, and we are really just a month or two away from their decisions on a lot of these things. So we will check into that. But we should say that Donald Trump, the latest polling coming out and it was announced this week that Joe Biden is going to basically just like he's going to play the incumbent game in this election. He's not going to leave the White House, except for it's not the White House. It's just his basement in Maryland, I guess, right? Or Delaware. Delaware, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And I'm not terribly surprised by this. And Donald Trump may actually have more problems going out in public than he presumes right now. I think we will have a better sense of that in the coming weeks. But nevertheless, despite the fact that Joe Biden has sort of like decided to take the less obtrusive, the less, I think, obvious, he doesn't want to be too out there. You know, he wants to dole it out in tiny chunks. Most Americans
like the times of day that he's awake.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Time to take a nap. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Taking a nap. Take some shut-eye. Reuters reports that Donald Trump's polling, a poll conducted on Monday and Tuesday of this week, 41% of adults approved of Trump's performance in office, which is down 4 points from a similar poll that ran in mid-April. 56% disapprove of Trump. That's up by 5 points in the same span. Also found that 46% of registered voters said that they would back Biden in the November 3 presidential election. 38% would vote for Trump. This is better than if the numbers were reversed, but there's still 18% extant from that number. And we don't know where that's going to land.
No, we certainly don't. And the number that I've been interested in that I don't have in front of me, but some of the polls indicating that among people who strongly dislike both of the candidates, which is a lot of people,
yes,
they're breaking for Biden so far. And
yes,
in 2016, they broke for Trump.
Exactly.
And I think that's significant in what is obviously a depressing election for most people.
Yes. I mean, I think, and it also implicates the Trump's strategy. I think they're going back and forth. I mean, yesterday we talked about this whole thing about rolling out Obamagate, and that's not going to make Joe Biden look worse to voters. It's just, it just seems
it's actually
like
incredible. It's delusional because it's speaking to the people who would already go lick a doorknob to vote for Trump. And it's reminding people of, and I say this with some frustration because I have a lot of objections to President Obama's record. He's popular.
Yes.
Why would you reinforce Biden's association with the most popular politician in America to only speak to the core of your cult? It doesn't make that much strategic sense.
My theory was that maybe they think they're losing part of their base.
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe this is also traditionally this time of year is in the cycle is when you would shore up your base and then I guess go. But this is not like they're not running a traditional campaign. They're not shoring up their base and then going for Biden voters. What they want to do and what they did with Clinton was they shore up their base fine, but then they want to suppress Biden voters. And that's something that you could do theoretically now, and they're not doing it. They haven't quite found out how to do it. So it appears that Donald Trump, based upon the fact that he can't quite figure out how he's going to suppress Joe Biden votes. I mean, obviously they're going to do this through, voter suppression tactics, but how he's going to convince people, Biden and Trump, they're all the same. I'm not going to go and vote for the president. How is he going to do that? He's not sure yet. So what he's doing is he's pivoting to his more Churchillian nature, because deep down inside of Donald Trump, there is a Winston Churchill. There is someone who wants to inspire the American public to raise to greatness. He wants to, I think it is, shift to greatness or something like that.
Keep calm and complain about Fashion Week not being good anymore.
Day after day, we're making tremendous strides with the dedication of our doctors and nurses. These are incredible people. These are brave people. These are warriors. With the devotion of our manufacturing workers, food suppliers, and lab technicians, and with the profound patriotism of the American people, we will defeat this horrible enemy. We will revive our economy, and we will transition into greatness. That's a phrase you're going to hear a lot because that's what's going to happen. We're going into the third quarter, and we're going to do well. In the fourth quarter, we're going to do very good, and next year I think we're going to have one of the best years we've ever had because there's a tremendous pent-up demand. It's a demand, and I'm feeling it. I've felt things a lot over my life, and I've made a lot of good calls. It's a demand like I don't think I've ever seen. There's a pent-up demand. There's a spirit in this country like few have seen. And I think you can say, and we've helped a lot of the countries a lot, really a lot. There's a tremendous spirit all over the world to beat this terrible, terrible thing. But we're transitioning to greatness.
Wow.
And the greatness is going to be in the fourth quarter, but it's really going to be next year, and it's going to be a year like we've never had before. I really believe that. As good as we've done, and we've done great. We had the best economy in the history of the world.
They're so inspiring.
Wow.
Folks, can't you transition into greatness? We're going to do this all. And I love how he's doing this sort of this poetic speech that is immediately, and Q2 is going to be much stronger than Q3. We're going to hit all our fiscal benchmarks, and we're going to defeat this bad thing.
Oh, you read that as fiscal quarters. I thought he was doing a basketball metaphor.
I don't know.
No, he's talking about fiscal quarters. I think that Churchill's like, and investor confidence will peak in the fourth quarter.
He's not even that. He's not even that lucid.
No, it's not
just like lucid. Q3, great. Q5, be better. Look at what transitionforgreatness.com is. Can we pop that up on the screen? There you go. Good job. Good job.
Right. Well done.
There you go.
Though I think they need to update that number depressingly. We're at over 80.
Indeed.
But I think that, I think Trump obviously does have certain political skills and certain communicative skills that work well for him, but he's just completely unable to do
sincere,
the inspiration thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's just totally unable to do that. I mean, he can be funny.
Can I shift back to hate?
Right.
We're transition into China is horrible.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be great. There's going to be a Q4, and everyone's talking about Obamagate, which is the worst thing.
Speaking of the oral arguments that took place yesterday in terms of the Congress's ability to investigate the president, this ad is a warning. Our democracy is under attack from the U.S. Supreme Court. In the middle of a deadly global pandemic, people across Wisconsin are planning on voting absentee to keep themselves and their families safe. But the night before the election, 5 Republican justices on the Supreme Court told thousands of people they'd have to choose between risking their lives and forfeiting their right to vote. The Supreme Court favoring Republican interests over our democracy is nothing new. They gutted the Voting Rights Act. They invited billionaires and corporations to spend unlimited amounts trying to influence elections. They gave a green light to gerrymandering. They gave a green light to voter ID laws. They gave a green light to voter roll purges. Now a progressive movement is rising up to fight back because it's quite possible the Wisconsin case will not be the last 2020 showdown over voting rights to be settled in the courts. And we simply cannot trust this court to put aside partisan views and protect people's right to vote. Our courts are becoming too political. It's time to say enough. Learn more about how you can join the fight by visiting demandjustice.org/majority. That's demandjustice.org/majority. I appreciate those guys advertising on the show, but now I feel like I got to wait to have Fallon on, which I was planning to have him on, the director of that. It's a great organization, and it really, I mean, anybody who's listened to this program for any extended period of time, know that's my bailiwick, is to get everyone from the center left to actually be concerned about the courts. Meanwhile, if you're like me, you have very little time to yourself when you're not working in this closed closet I'm in. That is not a metaphor. With your kids yelling and other people who might be yelling at you. I'm not going to get into it. To find time to sit down and read things. And so I have to be very judicious about what I'm actually going to read. However,